What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kangaroo Black coming back once again, talking my Alabama Crimson Tide and the Crimson Tide 2024 schedule, ranking the schedule from weakest opponent to toughest opponent. And we're going to see who is actually my Alabama Crimson Tide toughest opponent in 2024. The guys at Tuscaloosa News, they did it, okay? So I'm going to go over their rankings first, and then I'll talk about my rankings, because my rankings differ from the guys over at Tuscaloosa News. But first, let's talk about the Tuscaloosa News ranking. We know our first, matter of fact, the first SEC game that we'll play is at Bryant-Denny Stadium against the Georgia Bulldogs. That will be our first test. I got to say that. All right. We also got a road game against Oklahoma. Alabama ain't played that in Norman, Oklahoma since 2002. Now, we have played Oklahoma a couple of times in the Nick Saban era. I think we won one and lost one, I believe. Or we lost first, then we won one. Then we got road games against Tennessee and LSU. Usually, more often than not, 15 years, we beat the hell out of Tennessee. You know, half of those years, we beat them in Neyland Stadium. So playing at Neyland Stadium is really not a big deal. At least I don't think. And that's with or without Nick Saban. Then we got a road game, Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Usually when we go in Death Valley and play LSU, we come out with a win. More often than not. All right? So, hey, but this year is a different year. Okay? We got a different head coach, got a different coaching staff. All right? Addition of new players via the transfer portal. So we'll see how it all work out for my Alabama Crimson Tide in 2024. But one thing about it, I got the utmost confidence in Coach Kalen DeBoer, simply because he done won everywhere he done went. Okay? That's why. And you know I got the utmost confidence in my Alabama Crimson Tide. But let's go ahead and get to these rankings. First, like I said, we'll do the guys at Tuscaloosa News. And at number 12, the easiest opponent we'll have is those Mercer Bears. And I agree with the guys at Tuscaloosa News on this one. Mercer will pose no threat to my Alabama Crimson Tide whatsoever. None. None. This will be a big blowout. And guess what? First game, cupcake. And that's what my Alabama Crimson Tide going to treat it like. Okay, no need to go all out in this game. But we'll see how Coach Kalen DeBoer approached this game, okay? So, the weakest opponent is the Mercer Bears. Next, at number 11, the South Florida Bulls, okay? This is the guys at Tuscaloosa News ranking. But at 11, they got South Florida. Now, we played South Florida last season on the road. It was raining, okay, muddy. But hey, my Alabama Crimson Tide came out with the win, even though we didn't play, well, Bama didn't play to the Bama standard that game. Coach Saban decided to sack Miro that game. He didn't play not one snap. Played two backups, all right. Ty Simpson was the one that ended the game. I don't even want to mention the guy that started the game because he was a daggone disaster. But anyway, he don't play ball no more. You know, he transferred back to Notre Dame. No longer playing football. He play lacrosse now. So, hey, it is what it is. But South Florida Bulls gave us a tough test last season. But guess what? They come to Tuscaloosa this season. All right? And they about to get a pretty good butt whooping when they enter Bryant-Denny Stadium. All right? It will be nothing like it was last season. I guarantee you, they will see Miro this season in game 2. All right. Next, I ain't going to say game 2, but they will see Jalen Miro this season. All right. I don't have the exact, schedule in my face, so I don't know what week we'll be playing in South Florida, but I know we play them. But anyway, the third weakest opponent is Western Kentucky. All right. Matter of fact, yeah, we do play South Florida in week 2, September the 7th. But anyway, the next opponent is Western Kentucky, which The third weakest opponent is Western Kentucky, is which I believe is our first game, August 31st. This game will pose no threat at all. Okay, these guys at Tuscaloosa News says their coach Tyson Hilton has had the Hilltoppers plenty competitive over his 5 seasons, leading them to a 9-win season 3 out of 5 years. He's only had 1 losing season. We will look to tally a 4th consecutive winning season in 2024. But one of those Western Kentucky wins probably won't occur at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And no, it won't, because this will be an easy L for those Western Kentucky Wildcats, or Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Yeah, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. But it will be an easy win for my Alabama Crimson Tide, because Western Kentucky is not on the level of my Alabama Crimson Tide in no phase of the game. All right, so they are our 3rd weakest opponent. According to these guys at Tuscaloosa News, our 4th weakest opponent is Vanderbilt. We played them October the 5th. I mean, everybody beats up on Vanderbilt. SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, FCS programs, everybody beats up on damn Vanderbilt. I don't even know why Vanderbilt still got a football team. They need to disband it. All right, so hey, it is what it is. Another easy win for my Alabama Crimson Tide and Vandy. I believe they got the, I don't know, we go to Vanderbilt. Yep, at Vandy. Matter of fact, let me write that down on my, okay, I already got it wrote down. But we go to Vandy. It don't matter. We're going to tear their ass off in Tennessee, in Nashville. All right, so it is what it is, baby. Vandy, sorry, but it is what it is. All right, the 5th weakest opponent. I ain't going to get to the tough games. I'm going to say to about game, what was I say, 6, 5, 6. But anyway, that's 1, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. The 5th weakest opponent, South Carolina. South Carolina got to come in to Tuscaloosa. I don't even remember the last time we played South Carolina. I believe it was 2019, I believe. We whooped their ass then too, and we're going to do it again. All right. Tuscaloosa, these guys at Tuscaloosa News doing pretty damn good. All right. It says that after an impressive 2022, the Gamecocks took a step back in 2023, going 5-7. Perhaps South Carolina surprised and take a big step forward in 2024. But for now, it will have to prove that before being marked as a difficult game for Alabama, especially in Tuscaloosa. This would not be difficult. Not at all. Not at all. Okay, I know people down Coach Caleb DeBoer, but this game would not be different or difficult. Not at all. All right, moving on. The next weak opponent for my Alabama Crimson Tide is Auburn. All right. We played them November 30th, Iron Bowl. I'm not going to say won't be a tough game, because Auburn seems to always get up to play Alabama, no matter how bad their season is. You remember in 2022 when they had Brian Harsin, their program was a debacle. But guess what? Alabama had to go into 4 or 5 overtimes to beat them. And you remember last season. Season was a disaster. But in the Iron Bowl, it took Alabama a miracle, the gravedigger, to beat that debacle of an Auburn team that just a week prior lost to New Mexico State. So that's how Auburn play us. So in my mind, do I think Auburn is a weak opponent when it comes to Alabama? We'll see about that, on my rankings. But Auburn usually play us tough, but in Bryant-Denny, they don't play us as tough as when we have to go to Jordan-Hare. I'll just say that. But anyway, according to these guys at Tuscaloosa News, this game will be higher on the list if the game was on the Plains. But it's at Bryant-Denny Stadium in year 2 of Hugh Freeze coaching the Tigers. Quarterback Peyton Thorne has some intriguing weapons, particularly those whom Auburn added this season, such as Penn State transfer Keandre Lambert-Smith, as well as Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman is dynamic from what we've seen in that spring game for Auburn. Then you got Perry Thompson, a guy who was committed to Alabama, but I believe he decommitted after Nick Saban retired, and Hugh Freeze got him. Okay, but Peyton Thorne, he's not a good quarterback at all. He can run the hell out of that ball, but he's not good at all. Not in the passing game, unless he done made some dramatic improvements. Okay, so, but anyway, Alabama gonna win this game. Plus, Auburn defense, their secondary looks to be pretty much hot ass garbage. But anyway, so we got Mercer at 12, South Florida at 11, Western Kentucky at 10, Vandy at 9, South Carolina at 8, and Auburn at 7. Coming in at number 6, according to the guys at Tuscaloosa News, is Wisconsin, and it's on the road for my Alabama Crimson Tide, September 14th, the third game of the season. All right, I think we're gonna win this one pretty handily too. All right, but according to the guys at Tuscaloosa News, this game has two primary challenges. Alabama has only been to Madison once in the program history, and that's almost a century ago, and almost 100 years. Who cares? Anyway, also, the Crimson Tide has a colossal SEC opponent the next game against Georgia at Bryant-Denny Stadium, to which it might be easy to look ahead. The Badgers won't be the most difficult matchup this season, but the circumstances dictate a predicament for the Crimson Tide to overcome early in the season. Ain't no predicament. I don't care that Alabama ain't been the damn Madison, Wisconsin, and damn near Century. I don't care that Georgia is the next game. The thing about it, we got a bye week the week after. So why would we be looking ahead to Georgia? We got a bye week as well as they do. But hey, it's all good. I think this is one of the first 3 games. I think this will be a pretty easy opponent, if you ask me, in Wisconsin. But moving on, at number 5, these guys at Tuscaloosa News got Oklahoma, and that's at Oklahoma. And in my opinion, this will be a tough game. Now, this game comes the week before the Iron Bowl, and we do have a bye week in between. I think it's the week before I believe it's the week before the Iron Bowl or week before LSU. It's one of them. I think it's the week before LSU, I believe. And then we have it's the week before the LSU or the Iron Bowl. Let me see. Anyway, a matchup against the Sooners on the road could be a challenge, especially with the Iron Bowl looming the following week. Yep, right before Auburn. All right, so it's all good. The Sooners are fresh off the 2023 season, in which the team took a notable leap forward with a 10-win season. First in a long time. But how Oklahoma adjusts to the season in the SEC remains to be seen. Until there's more sample size, we'll keep this to number 5 at number 5. Though it could probably be slotted anywhere between number 2 and 4. Anyway, so hey, it is what it is, man. I don't fear Oklahoma. All right. But I did pick this game. You know, if we lose a game, I think it will be this game. Everybody beat up at this point of the season, including Oklahoma players. But we got the Iron Bowl the very next week. So this could prove to be a tough game for my Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, at number 4, the guys at Tuscaloosa News got Tennessee. And they say the Vols have a shot to be a problem for Alabama in Knoxville. And quarterback Nico, I'm not going to pronounce his last name, Nico. I can barely pronounce it. I can't get that shit. But Nico brings plenty of intrigue. It will be difficult to play Tennessee on the road, no doubt. But it's not the most difficult game on the schedule. And this version of the Vols won't likely be as tough to face as the 2022 team that beat Alabama in Knoxville on a game-winning field goal. I don't think this team will be as tough as 2022 either. All right, Nico, new quarterback, Although I think the guy going to end up being dynamic. But I don't think they're going to beat Alabama this season in 2024. They secondary got to step up. All right. They got to work on that secondary. I don't know who they got in the spring transfer portal. I don't know if they got any key pieces to shore up the secondary. I don't know. I'm just going by what I've seen in their spring game. So, yeah, I think my Alabama Crimson Tide will do like they always do, with the exception of 2022. Go into Neyland Stadium and come out with a win with no problem. Just my opinion. All right, at number 3, the guys at Tuscaloosa News got Missouri as our third toughest opponent. I just don't see it. I understand Missouri had a great season last season, but it was a one-off in my opinion. The first great season they probably had, like I said, since 2014 when Michael Sam was there. Other than that, they ain't did a damn thing. Eli Drinkwitz, yeah, he finally had him a good season at Missouri. But I don't believe it's going to happen 2 years in a row. That's just me. Your best player offensively, Cody Schrader, gone. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, it is what it is, man. But anyway, these guys at Tuscaloosa News, fresh off 11-2 season, capped with a Cotton Bowl victory. The Tigers proved to be one of the better teams in 2023. That figures to be the case again this season, not to me. As Missouri returns Brady Cook at quarterback and Luther Burton at receiver. Brady Cook is not a dynamic quarterback. He's average. Hey, anyway, and then when you pressure the guy, he's known to make mistakes. Anyway, who talking about Luther Burton, who could be the best wide receiver in the SEC this season? I doubt it. It won't be easy for the Tigers to beat Alabama at Bryant-Denny. But Missouri figures to provide one of the more problematic games of this season. I don't believe that. But that's just my opinion. All right, at number 2, you got LSU. We're going into Death Valley. You know, on the road. Going into Death Valley. But hey, we done been there before several times. And like I say, more likely than not, we come out with a victory. And we're going to come out with a victory this season. Coach Kalen DeBoer's first season. All right, so hey, it is what it is. You don't have Jaden Daniels no more running all over defenses. All right, now Garrett Nussmeier, he's a pretty good quarterback. Very accurate, strong arm. But his mobility is just not there. And if we can get to his ass, it's going to be a long day for LSU at home against my Alabama Crimson Tide. So, me, I expect nothing less than for my Alabama Crimson Tide to come out of Death Valley with a dub. I can tell you that. Talking about this, they talking about LSU's defense. Talking about they ain't got nowhere to go but up because they were so bad last season. Who they got to address some of those problems, I don't know. But I believe they did get a new defensive coordinator. Yeah, they did. Blake Baker, our ex-Missouri defensive coordinator, Blake Baker, in Baton Rouge. But that ain't going to make a damn difference. All right? Unless you got some new pieces. Because you're damn sure going to need them from what we seen last season. But that was last season. This is this season. Defense can get better. I don't know. But I tell you what, my offense is going to be better than it was last season. So, hey, it is what it is. So, if this defense present a challenge to my Alabama Crimson Tide offense, my offense is going to present a challenge to this defense of LSU. And I think my offense and my defense will hold up a little bit better than LSU's. All right. And the number 1 toughest game, according to the guys at Tuscaloosa News, Georgia Bulldogs, September 28th. Everybody is waiting on this game. I get a lot of comments in the comment section from Georgia fans saying September 28th. That's all they put. Or we coming September 28th. Well, guess what? I can tell you this. Come on. Because we waiting on you. It ain't too many times that you done came to Tuscaloosa and walked out with a victory. Not too many times like we done came to Sanford Stadium and walked out with a victory. Like every time we done faced you in Atlanta, we done walked out with a victory. Every single time. And I expect nothing less when you come to Tuscaloosa. Because it's going to be a hell of a task to walk into Tuscaloosa and walk out with a victory. Even though Texas did it last season. But y'all ain't Texas. And y'all seem to you know, get a little nervous and start sweating. Your heart get to beating fast when it's time to play the Alabama Crimson Tide. But according to these guys at Tuscaloosa News, the Bulldogs are the easy pick for the most difficult game for my Alabama Crimson Tide. Georgia is expected to be a top contender to win the national championship this season. They was that last season. And who stood in the way? Who stopped all that? My Alabama Crimson Tide. Quarterback Carson Beck returns to lead the Bulldogs. That ain't no big deal. Anyway, they might not have tight end Brock Bowers anymore, but still will likely be a tough matchup for any team in 2024. Now, I will agree with that. All right, the game is in Tuscaloosa, which will help Alabama's chances. But DeBoer couldn't have got a much tougher draw for his first SEC matchup while coaching the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's fine. It's just going to be Coach Kalen DeBoer's first SEC win of his tenure. That's all. First SEC winner of his tenure against who? The team who's picked to win everything. The mighty Georgia Bulldogs. So that's those guys at Tuscaloosa News ranking. So let me talk about my rankings. Okay? And at number 12, OKB got Mercer. He agreed with the guys from Tuscaloosa News. Mercer will pose no challenge to my Alabama Crimson Tide whatsoever on August 31st. All right. Then, as the second weakest opponent for my Alabama Crimson Tide, I differ with those guys at Tuscaloosa News. I got Western Kentucky as our second weakest opponent. Western Kentucky will pose no threat to my Alabama Crimson Tide. Those hill toppers might as well stay in Kentucky. Wherever they at in Kentucky, they might as well stay there, because when they hit Bryant-Denny Stadium, it's an automatic L, baby. Well, hell, this is an L right now for those Western Kentucky hill toppers. All right, third weakest opponent, I got Vandy. Okay, at number 10. Mercer 12, Western Kentucky 11, Vandy 10. All right. At number 10, those guys at Tuscaloosa News got Western Kentucky, but I got Vandy. Like I say, everybody beats up on Vandy. Vandy don't pose a challenge for anybody, not in the SEC. I'll tell you that. None. I understand they beat Florida back in 2022, but hell, that was a one-off too. Florida has been terrible. So, hey, it is what it is. But Vandy don't pose no threat to nobody in the SEC. Really, you know. And then ain't no more dang on East and West. So, hey, Vandy, you about to get tore up this season by everybody in the SEC and possibly outside the damn SEC. Clark Leah, it went 3-9 last season. Freaking terrible. I believe it was 3-9. Clark Leah is terrible. So it is Vanderbilt Commodores. And Clark Leah, this might be your last season. Sorry, I'm just a messenger. But anyway, I got them at number 10. At number 9, I got South Florida, where they got the guys at Tuscaloosa News got Vandy. I got South Florida. South Florida went 7-6 last year. Like I said, they played us tough in the rain. It was sloppy. Milroe didn't play. That guy from Notre Dame, I hate to say his name, Tyler Buckner or whatever the hell he is, he just wasn't built for SEC football. He played a year or two at Notre Dame, but he hit Alabama in the SEC, and that shit was terrible. And he never saw the field after Bama played South Florida last season. As well, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have saw it then, because I know Nick Saban saw the same thing what we saw at South Florida in practice. The guy was terrible. So he did himself and everybody else a favor by transferring to play lacrosse and leave football to the big boys, the real athletes. It is what it is. I ain't got nothing against lacrosse, but it ain't SEC football. That's all I know. But anyway, South Florida will be an easy win. Jalen Miro won't be sitting on the bench. And he going to be out there throwing and running all over South Florida this season. Okay? At number 8, we both agree. The guys over at Tuscaloosa News and me, KB, agree. South Carolina at number 8. 5th weakest opponent once again. At number 8, South Carolina ain't going to pose no threat. They got to come into Tuscaloosa. Just like they did, I believe, in 2019 and got their head tore off. They going to do the same thing in 2024. So, hey, South Carolina, like I told one of them damn South Carolina fans, we're going to beat the Spurs off your ass. That's all I know. Going to get them damn chicken giblets. That's what we're going to be, chicken giblets. We're going to tear your ass out the frame. We're going to tar and feather them damn chickens. All right? So, South Carolina Gamecock, just get ready for ass whooping. Sorry to all the South Carolina fans. What's going to happen to they damn chickens? What's the date that we play to them damn chickens? But my Alabama Crimson Tide going to tear that ass off on October the 12th. Matter of fact, that's the week before we play Tennessee. So, a tune-up game. But anyway, South Carolina at number 8. All right. At number 7, I got Missouri, whereas the guys at Tuscaloosa News got Auburn. But I got Missouri. I don't see Missouri as really a tough opponent. I don't care. Them guys got Missouri at number 3 over there at Tuscaloosa News. They done lost their damn mind. But I got them at number 7, where they deserve to be. Because I ain't giving Missouri no credit for that one-off season they had last season. They're going to have to show me again. And even if they do, they'll still have an L against my Alabama Crimson Tide. You can believe that. You better call, like I say, Michael Sam back. And those other 2 guys, his 2 buddies, one of them was a wide receiver and the other one played on the defensive side of the ball, that corner, I believe. You better go get them too, and you still won't win. Just like in 2014, we tore that ass off. And we about to do it again in 2024. So, Missouri at number 7. At number 6, me and the guys at Tuscaloosa News, we agree. Wisconsin. All right? So, hey, it is what it is. Wisconsin, you are not winning the game, even though we coming in Norman. I'm not Norman, but Madison, Wisconsin. Okay? You won't win. So, it is what it is. You had a pretty good season last season. You know what I'm saying? But you lost to a 5-7 Washington State University, and you lost to a 3-9 Indiana University. And guess what? You're going to lose to my Alabama Crimson Tide this year, 2024. No doubt about it. I don't care how good y'all think y'all going to be. You won't be good enough to beat my Alabama Crimson Tide. That's why I got you at number 6. And that's why those guys at Tuscaloosa News got you at number 6 too. You ain't got a damn chance. I don't give a damn that you is at home. But anyway, at number 5, we differ. Me and the guys at Tuscaloosa News, they got Oklahoma. I got Auburn. Like I said, Auburn, they get up to play my Alabama Crimson Tide. They just don't play them as tough in Bryant-Denny as they do at Jordan-Hare. And they won't win at Bryant-Denny this season. No chance. I don't care if it is Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is not that great of a coach. He is not. Auburn's football team is just not as good as my Alabama Crimson Tide. Your quarterback positions suck. And look like your defense, at least your secondary, is not up to par. I understand you got Keon Coleman. I understand you got Perry Thompson, but Perry Thompson is just a freshman. And guess what? Even though you got Perry Thompson, we got the best freaking wide receiver out of the state of Alabama. And that's Ryan Williams. And I don't think Perry Thompson is nowhere near the wide receiver as Ryan Hollywood Williams is. Flying Ryan, that's what I call him. So, hey, the next Devontae Smith. So it is what it is. But anyway, Auburn at number 5. At number 4, we both agree. guys at Tuscaloosa News and OKB, we agree that Tennessee will be our fourth toughest opponent. Even though I don't see it as a tough game. I just want to give Tennessee the respect that they deserve. That's all. But I don't think this game is going to be really tough. Because Tennessee is usually a pretty easy win for us. Usually. Now, they beat us in 2022 at home. In Neyland Stadium at home for them. They beat us. Last season, they came to Tuscaloosa. They got out to a 13-point lead. And my Alabama Crimson Tide came back and tore their ass off. They didn't score a point in the second half. That's when the fans got to crying about the refs. All right? So, Tennessee Vols, you'll be at home again. Neyland Stadium. And when Alabama whoop your ass again, or you going to cry about the refs? Because you didn't have nothing to say about the refs in 2022 when you beat us by 3 points, a game-winning field goal. You didn't say nothing about the refs, even though my Alabama Crimson Tide had 17 penalties called on them. More than double what your team had called on you. And there was a blatant face mask in that game, clear, against Isaiah Bond, or on Isaiah Bond, that wasn't called, but y'all glossed over that. You glossed over the fact that there was no penalty call when your guy punched my guy in the head last season. There was no call, there was no penalty for that, but you glossed over that. But you and cry about every daggone penalty that was called on you in which you deserved. So it is what it is. So ain't no excuses this year. You're going to be back at home. And when we tell your ass off at home again, this will make what? The 17th win in 18 years. What's going to be your excuse? You're going to blame the refs again? Probably. But hey, it is what it is. You're just going to get tore off. But I put you as our fourth toughest opponent. All right, at number 3, whereas the guys at Tuscaloosa News got Missouri, I got Oklahoma. Because I think Oklahoma will pose a much greater threat to my Alabama Crimson Tide than Missouri. That's just me. All right. They coming off a 10-3 season. All right. They beat Texas last season, a team that we lost to. Okay, but that's last season. Don't got nothing to do with this season. Okay, but I think, and again, Oklahoma, I think lost the best player on the team in Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback. I don't know who's going to be their quarterback this year. I don't care. All right, but I think this is going to be a tough game. Like I say, everybody's going to be beat up at this point of the season, and it's right before the Iron Bowl. So we'll see how it works out. And I feel like my Alabama Crimson Tide will win this game, but I ain't going to say they're going to win it easy. And I feel like it's a possibility that we possibly could come out on the losing end of this game. Now, I know y'all might say, oh, KB saying Alabama can lose. I didn't say we're going to lose. I said it's a possibility. But you think I'm going to go against my Alabama Crimson Tide? You out your damn mind. I'm just saying it won't be a blowout. But my Alabama Crimson Tide will still win this game. It will take a miracle for Oklahoma to win this game. And if they do, it'll be like a last-second field goal or something like that. It'll have to be. Other than that, my Alabama Crimson Tide gonna win this game. But anyway, I got Oklahoma at number 3. At number 2, we agree again. LSU. All right? But, like I say, we go into Death Valley. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's like a home stadium for us, too. That's like a home game for us. Neyland Stadium. Home game for Alabama. Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Home game for Alabama. Because we win there all the damn time. Hell, we probably won them as much as daggone LSU have. Probably won in Neyland Stadium as much as Tennessee have. But LSU is number 2 because they deserve respect. They done gave us some tough games at home and freaking in Death Valley. They done gave us some tough games. But and in 2022 they beat us. But Jaden Daniels ain't there to run all over us no more. So hey, it is what it is, baby. So we'll come into Death Valley, do what we have to do, and whoop y'all ass, and go on back to Tuscaloosa, business as usual. And the toughest opponent we will have in 2024, the Georgia Bulldogs. You got to give credit where credit is due. The last, we'll say 5 seasons or whatever, we're going to say from 21 up until now. We'll say from 20 all the way up to now, Georgia has won more games than anybody in the SEC, probably in Power 5 football. They done won more games. 29-game win streak. Back-to-back national champions. You can't discount that, even though I like to do it, but you can't discount it. Okay? And they still got Kirby Smart, who everybody now, a lot of people now, consider the best college football the best college football coach in the game today since Nick Saban retired, since the great one Nick Saban retired. But anyway, and then, they still got some studs over there. I got to give it to them. They still got studs over there. They lose some, but they always have some in the waiting. They got Carson Beck coming back, who, me personally, don't think is all of that. I don't think he's this great quarterback, okay? But he does enough to win games. Carson Beck is just like A.J. McCarron or Jay Coker, a game manager. That's what he is. And he's great at managing the game. He's great at that, okay? So, but anyway, he's not that great of a quarterback to me. They picked up Trevor Etienne from Florida. Even though he was never a starter at Florida, I think he can work well in that Georgia offense. As long as Georgia offensive line doing what they supposed to do, Trevor Etienne gonna eat. Then you got a couple of other running backs that came back from last season. Okay, so they still a pretty good team. All right, the defensive front seven, even though it wasn't as good last season as it was in 22 and 21. I expect it to take a step up from last season. I'm just put that out there. All right. Secondary, they got Malachi Moore back there. Not Malachi Moore, but Malachi Starks back there. They lost a couple of people in Lassiter and Kamara Lassiter, and another defensive back they lost. I don't know who they're going to put back there, but they picked up Jake Pope from Alabama. All right. So, hey, Georgia going to have a pretty good team this year, pretty tough team. All right. I don't think Kirby will let them fall off too much. All right. But, a but was coming. But they going against my Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. And they don't fare too well in Tuscaloosa, even though they ain't been there in a while. They don't fare too well in Tuscaloosa. Not like we fare in Athens, Sanford Stadium, Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Dome. They don't fare too well. Hell, at this game, I got more confidence in playing the Georgia Bulldogs in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Dome, than I do in Tuscaloosa. Even though they don't fare too well in Tuscaloosa. When we meet Georgia in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, that's an automatic win for my Alabama Crimson Tide. That's Brian Denny East over there. Now you come to Brian Denny, the real Brian Denny. Okay? And we're going to see how it all work out in Coach Kalen DeBoer's first season. And I have not a shadow of a doubt that Coach Kalen DeBoer can get it done against the Georgia Bulldogs. Because guess what? The good part about it is that Alabama got tune-up games before the game against Georgia. Tune-up games. And we don't have to put everything on film. So he'll come out and do some things against Georgia that they ain't seen on film. That's what's going to bring us the damn victory. I'm going to chalk it up to the tune-up games that we got before those Georgia Bulldogs. Even though Georgia got a bye week in between, playing us, just like we got a bye week in between playing them. Georgia come out and they play Clemson. Okay, I don't know who they got. I know they got a tune-up game after Clemson, but I don't know who they got after that. But let me check it out. Okay. Oh, man, they got Clemson, Tennessee Tech, and then Kentucky. Kentucky might not be all of that, but Kentucky is an SEC opponent. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. We don't have an SEC opponent before we play the Georgia Bulldogs. But I think Clemson going to play them tough. All right, to tough out the first 3 games. I think Kentucky could give them a challenge, at least for the first half. Maybe going into the third quarter or middle of the third quarter, but then Georgia will pull away. So they just might be a little bit banged up when they get to my Alabama Crimson Tide. That's going to help us. So anyway, but just like those guys at freaking Tuscaloosa News, I got Georgia as our toughest opponent also. And I think they will be our toughest opponent. If this game, is a blowout on either side, I will be surprised. And when I say blowout, I'm talking about like 15, 17 points or whatever. But if it is that, it'll be by my Alabama Crimson Tide blowing Georgia out the damn water in Bryant-Denny. Matter of fact, we're going to blow their ass out of Bryant-Denny. That's what we're going to do. But anyway, that's my rankings compared to the guys over at Tuscaloosa News from the weakest to the toughest opponent for my Alabama Crimson Tide in 2024. All right, so hey, it's going to be a great and exciting season. And I have no doubt that my Alabama Crimson Tide will continue to put a smile on my face week after week after week. So y'all be blessed. And I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby. And roll damn Tide.